This one bachelorette is going to blind date 5 single guys looking for love.
What happens when someone who became internet famous for being the ultimate wife guy decides to launch a dating show? Yeah, you heard that right. Today we're diving into the absolute chaos that is Ned Fulmer's comeback attempt. And trust me, it's messier than you think. From cringeworthy content choices to wrestling appearances that have the internet collectively wincing, we're breaking down everything that's been happening with the former Try Guy who just won't quit. So grab your snacks, because this one is wild.
Hi, I'm Ned Fulmer. 3 years ago, I cheated on my wife with my producer. It became a massive public scandal that caused a lot of pain to a lot of people.
Let's start from the beginning because, honestly, the audacity of this entire situation needs context. Ned Fulmer has been going full throttle with what he's calling his new era. And by full throttle, I mean he's launched not one, but 2 major projects in the last month alone. First, there's his podcast called Rock Bottom, which we'll get into in a second. And then there's this whole new video series that is basically the Try Guys, except he can't call it that. And I'm not joking when I say he seems to be avoiding the word try like his life depends on it, which makes me think there's definitely some legal situation happening behind the scenes. Like, the man is doing verbal gymnastics to not say that word, and it's honestly kind of fascinating to watch. But here's where it gets interesting. Most people, after going through what Ned went through with his very public cheating scandal, would probably want to lay low for a while, right? Maybe work behind the scenes, rebrand quietly, take some time to figure things out. Not Ned. This man said, you know what? I'm going to put myself front and center and do exactly the type of content that reminds everyone of my past. And I don't know if that's bold, delusional, or some combination of both, but it's certainly a choice.
This is a conversation with Ariel in this video. It's painful at times. It's honest, vulnerable, brutal. But it's necessary for her to move forward, and I'm grateful for the chance to witness it.
Now, what really surprised me is that apparently Ned had 2 YouTube channels just sitting there with audiences already built in, ready to go. I had no idea these existed. But apparently one was a channel he possibly shared with Ariel, and then he had his own personal channel from back in the Try Guys days. Both of them had subscribers just waiting, and now he's using both platforms to push out all this new content he's been working on. It's like he had this whole infrastructure ready to launch his comeback, which makes you wonder how long he's been planning this. We've already talked a bit about his podcast, Rock Bottom, where he gives people the opportunity to discuss their lowest moments in life. Their metaphorical rock bottom, if you will. The irony of Ned Fulmer hosting a show called Rock Bottom is not lost on anyone, trust me. But that's just the beginning of this whole situation.
Hi, I'm Ned Fulmer, and welcome to Future Love, a show that explores dating, love, and technology in the future.
Last week, we got the trailer for his new video series, and now it's fully out there in the world. He's got 3 videos up so far. The trailer, one called Blind Dating 5 Guys in Secret AI, and another called Can I Survive Fighter Jet G-Forces? But let's focus on that dating one for a second because, I'm sorry, but why would he even go there? Like, truly, of all the content ideas in the entire universe, why would you choose to do a dating show when your entire reputation is built around a very public cheating scandal? It's like he's actively trying to remind people about the worst moment of his career, and I genuinely don't understand the thought process behind it. The premise is that one bachelorette is going to blind date 5 single guys looking for love, and the catch is that one of them is secretly an AI. Ned positions himself as the host, introducing the show as Future Love, a show that explores dating, love, and technology in the future. And look, I'm all for creative concepts and exploring how technology intersects with romance, but maybe, just maybe, Ned Fulmer is not the right person to be fronting this particular show. The optics are just not great.
Going completely dark was the only thing that I could think to do. And for the last 3 years, I've just hidden behind the scandal. Now I can't get out from behind it.
Yeah, because it's a big step to like sit down and do what we're doing and to talk about it.
Right. But even like going out in public with like my kids or just going out to dinner or something like that,
Yeah.
I feel like the only thing that people see is the scandal.
Here's another weird detail. The thumbnail for the trailer is literally a screen grab from his podcast video with Ariel, from the episode where he's by himself for the first few minutes explaining where he's been since the scandal. So even his marketing materials are pulling from content that directly references his controversy. It's like he can't escape it. Or maybe he doesn't want to escape it. Maybe he thinks any attention is good attention, which might explain why he launched with the dating video. Because here's my theory. I think he genuinely believed that doing a dating video, especially as his first piece of content, would get him views specifically because of his scandal. Like maybe he was going for a rage bait moment, knowing people would be mad and click on it out of anger or curiosity. The problem is, this video actually didn't perform as well as his second video, though people in the comments were saying he made that second video an ad, so take that with a grain of salt. But I can't help feeling like there's something genuinely sad about all of this. And I don't mean sad in a poor Ned way, I mean sad in a this is uncomfortable to witness way. It really feels like he has this huge ego and desperately wants to be the star, the host, the face of multiple shows. And the thing is, he already had that. He had it with the Try Guys. He was part of something successful and beloved, but he had to share that spotlight with 3 other people. And maybe that's what this is really about. Maybe he just didn't like sharing.
I know that I represented myself as a kind of wife guy who talked about his relationship and put that out there for public consumption.
We kind of got confirmation of this from his own mouth. In the podcast episode with Ariel that we talked about last week, Ned mentioned how his image for so long was the husband and the dad, and he didn't want to fully lean into that content, but it was what performed well for him. So that's what he became. The wife guy. And when I listen to him talk about that, there's this underlying tone of resentment, like he didn't want to be defined by his relationship and family. He didn't like not being the main character. He wanted to be the focus, the center of attention, the star of the show. So in a twisted way, I think he sees what happened, the scandal, leaving the Try Guys, the end of his marriage to Ariel, as an opportunity. Like, okay, now I can do it all by myself. Now I can be the main character. Now it's just me. And I don't have to share the spotlight with anyone. But here's the problem. The audience just isn't there for it. Because he really messed up. His reputation is damaged. The internet doesn't like him. And when you want to be a host or the face of content, you need to be likable in some capacity. You need people to want to watch you. And right now, it's just not hitting the way I think he wants it to.
Each week, we'll be dropping videos that focus on curiosity, empathy, and comedy.
I think Ned wants to be enough. That's what this is really about. He wants to be acknowledged as sufficient all by himself, as solo Ned Fulmer, not as part of a group, not as someone's husband. He wants his individual talent and personality to be enough to carry content, and he's desperately trying to prove that. But it's not working. And maybe that's because it doesn't feel authentic. There's something about watching him try this hard that just feels off. It feels forced and uncomfortable.
We'll taste some of the most delicious food in the world.
Oh my God.
Is this the greatest idea of all time?
And I think another huge part of why this isn't working is because he's literally just redoing the Try Guys content. He's making the same style of videos, just without the other guys. And people are watching this thinking, dude, you had it all. You were part of something special, and you blew it up. You ruined it with your own actions. So now watching you try to recreate it by yourself just feels sad. Not sad in a sympathetic way, but sad in a this is hard to watch way. It's like watching someone try to relive their glory days, except their glory days ended because of their own choices.
We'll go all the way up to 8 Gs for feeling up to it.
Learning about different jobs and hobbies.
Oh, hi. Wait.
His second video, the fighter jet one, follows the same formula. Ned asks, "Can my body survive fighter jet G-forces? Let's find out." He goes up in a stunt plane and they pull increasingly difficult maneuvers until he either passes out or vomits or both. It's classic Try Guys content. The whole let's put ourselves in an uncomfortable or extreme situation and see what happens format. But watching him do it alone, without the dynamic and banter and chemistry of the group, it just feels hollow. It feels like a copy of something that used to be great, and now it's just not. People in the comments are not holding back. One person wrote, "This is so embarrassing. Ned leading a dating show after publicly cheating on his wife and ruining his entire career is unreal. And I thought the podcast was a bad idea." That pretty much sums up the general sentiment. People are genuinely baffled by his choices and can't understand why he thought any of this was a good idea.
Can you just tell us all about this? Like, how did this start?
Yeah.
What got you to this point?
The new show is about building curiosity, and I wanted to do things that were really high spectacle, like really like once in a lifetime experiences.
But Ned hasn't been just posting videos in silence. He's been doing interviews to address the backlash, which is honestly adding another layer to this whole situation. He recently sat down with TMZ to talk about everything. According to their article, Fulmer says he understands why the pilot episode of Rock Bottom made some fans uncomfortable, especially since it featured Ariel and marked their first joint appearance since the cheating scandal. He said, "It's not a pleasant subject matter, but one reason why I wanted to do this show was to not shy away from those conversations." He went on to say that while some viral clips looked cringeworthy, he and Ariel were proud of the full hour-long episode, calling it part of 3 years of growth. But here's the thing. The internet wasn't buying it. The episode immediately drew backlash from critics who accused the couple of trying to rewrite history. And Ned once again became a trending topic, but not in a good way. In the interview, Ned talked about how he's trying to move forward, even if that means tuning out the negative noise. He admitted, "When I see some of these clips, it's cringy. I see how I'm not perfect in that moment." At least he's somewhat self-aware, I guess. But self-awareness without meaningful change or better decision-making doesn't really help much.
Pro wrestling was one of them. When we started talking, they were like, yes for everything, which was amazing. Like anything I pitched them or they pitched me, we're just like, yes, let's do it.
No
Let's do this,
way.
let's do that.
And if all of this wasn't enough, Ned has also ventured into professional wrestling. Yes, you read that right. He recently got in the ring as Nasty Ned for AEW, and clips have been circulating with people absolutely cringing at the whole thing. In an interview with Inside the Ring, Fulmer said that AEW welcomed him with open arms when he pitched the idea of training and performing. He said, "Anything I pitched them or they pitched me, we were just like, yes, let's do it." Adding that the wrestlers thought it was awesome that he was willing to put his body on the line and learn. But the internet's reaction has been less awesome and more, why is this happening? People are watching these clips and just feeling secondhand embarrassment. It's another example of Ned throwing himself into public-facing projects when maybe, just maybe, he should be taking a step back and figuring out what he actually wants his career to look like, rather than just desperately grabbing at anything that will put him in front of a camera. Now, I will say that not everyone is completely against him. Some people in the comments have said they're willing to give him a second chance, that everyone makes mistakes and deserves the opportunity to grow and move forward. And look, I get that perspective. People do deserve opportunities to change and rebuild their lives after making mistakes.
The Try Guys is changing. After the whole we made some pretty bold claims about how we wanted to shake it all up, and then sorta?
Yeah, sort of.
But other commenters have been quick to remind these forgiving folks that it's not just Ned who was affected by his actions. It wasn't just him and Ariel. He affected his entire company and his business partners. Keith and Zach have been pretty open about this. Last year, they sat down with Anthony Padilla and talked about what happened. Keith said, "When we went through our events, it changed how our channel was surfaced. It chased advertisers away because we were too hot. We lost millions of dollars in booked branded revenue. It sent our company into a tailspin." Think about that for a second. Millions of dollars. Lost revenue. A company thrown into chaos. Employees whose livelihoods were affected. This wasn't just a personal scandal that hurt Ned's marriage. This was a business disaster that had real financial consequences for people who had built something alongside him. So when people say, "Oh, just give him another chance," it's important to remember that his actions had far-reaching consequences beyond just his own life. I don't know if Keith and Zach would be on the side of those willing to give him another shot after everything that happened. I kind of doubt it. But regardless of what they think, Ned is out here doing whatever he can to be in front of the camera, putting himself out there just like he used to. And honestly, I don't know how long this is going to last. I don't know if he'll be able to build a sustainable career as a solo content creator, or if this is just going to fizzle out after a few months when the views don't come and the audience doesn't grow. But as of right now, this is what's happening with Ned. This is what he's putting out into the world. And this is what he's had to say about all of it in various interviews. It's a fascinating case study in ego, reputation management, or lack thereof, and what happens when someone refuses to read the room. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think. Is Ned being genuine in trying to move forward? Or is this just a desperate attempt to cling to relevance and recapture what he lost? Do you think people should give him a second chance? Or are his choices just too cringe and tone-deaf to overlook? And honestly, would any of this be hitting differently if he was doing completely new content instead of just recreating the Try Guys format by himself? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because I know y'all have opinions about this one. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and send this to a friend who's been following the Try Guys situation as closely as we have. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next.